Kory. So since the banlist came out, he's giving us another update to his Domain Monarch deck, and I'll just have him explain.
You guys can't see it, but behind this mask, I have the biggest smile any Monarch player has ever seen since it became banned. Anywho, so beginning off, the moment that this deck got Pantheism back to 3, I immediately went over to my box filled with cards and put the deck right back together, and decided that I was going to play it today. And Vanity's Fiend is still as much of a biatch as it was before. Hopefully that doesn't get us demonetized. Anyways, on to the deck profile. So, as you all know, I always do the 3 Adia, 3 Adios, and the 1 Mithra package. I've been liking the Mithra because it shuts off evenly matched, shuts off, what's it called? Infinite Impermanence, and those 2 cards alone hurt this deck a decent bit, plus sometimes all you need is only 1 tribute fodder anyway, so the 1 Mithra is definitely worth it. And like I always say in every video, worst case scenario, if you've used all of these and you don't have any more of these in deck, you can always special one of these off of a deal just for that extra tribute summon that you're going to get anyways. So it's a pretty decent lineup. I like it. It stops a decent number of go second cards. And with Called by the Grave being to 1, I need to be able to stop as many cards as I can right now. Anyways, 3 Vanity's Fiend, 1 Majesty's, and 1 Karaz. This card wins games. This card, as a follow-up, also can win games. And Karaz I always play as just the free pop for the draws or offensive, defensive plays. I was playing around with 2, but drawing into one of these things is like incredibly painful. It's only worth it at 1. You can recur it, you can do a lot of different things. It's just worth it. This one's only at 1 because it's searchable. You can recur it with Erebus, all that fun stuff. If this, as I say every single time, had just had 1,000 defense, this would have been the best Monarch. I pretty much consider it a Monarch now. Ain't that right, Todd? Anyways, speaking of Monarchs, 3 big boy Erebus and 3 big girl Aether. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal. You play it on turn 1, you shuffle a card from your opponent's hand onto their deck. They start with 1 less card. Worst case scenario. But also non-targeting, non-destruction removal, so it gets rid of Dragoon as well. Dragoon, sorry. And Aether, kill power, freaking support, whatever you need it for. And mixing it up with Stormforth, which is also at 3, is still a great play to this day. And that's it for the monsters. I don't play a single hand trap because for some reason they don't work well in this deck. Anywho, on to the spells. 3 Domain. It's Domain of the True Monarchs. Pantheism is once again at 3, so even if you do draw into extras of these, you have extra Pantheisms to draw extras into. And oh my god, thank you Konami. You may have done the worst possible thing you could have done with Called by the Grave again, because that was the stupidest thing you could have done. But you gave me back 3 Pantheism, and for that I cannot complain. Oh, I'm so happy this is back.
We both got trash, Jake. Huh? We both got trash.
Anyways, 3 Stormforth. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal, also outs Dragoon, outs a lot of things actually. And being able to tribute your opponent's stuff during your opponent's turn with Aether in this card as a combo is just too good to pass up. And then the last 3 of I run for the spells Monarchs is Tenacity, but that's just because it can turn itself into any of the other Monarch spell traps. As for 2 of, I run 2 Return. I wasn't liking it at 3, even with Pantheism back to 3. I still was not enjoying the ratio as I was drawing. 2 is just fine. Worst case scenario, I Pantheism it with a Tenacity and I get my Return anyways. And then my last Monarch spell is March, because now my monsters can't be targeted by card effects, they can't be destroyed by card effects, and that is... If you're sitting on just a Vanity's Fiend and they can't impermanence you, that sometimes will just win you the game. Hence the 1 of. On to the non-Monarch spell and trap cards. Foolish, Rhoda, and 1 for 1. These 2 are specifically for Adia, and this is to send Erebus, Adia, Adios, whatever you need in the grave. This card can also equal into a free Pantheism if you've already activated it, already banished it. You send Adia, add Pantheism, reshuffle, discard 1, draw 2, and you've fixed your hand once more. So definitely worth keeping at 1. And onto the trap cards of the deck. I run 2 Prime. Was fooling around with 3, but I liked having Mithra over the 3rd one of these. One, Monarchs Erupt, because negating all your opponent's monster effects is still a good ability, and it's searchable in this deck. And Escalation, because giving all your Monarchs the ability to be an Aether pretty much without having to banish a spell or trap from grave is still one of the nicest feelings you can have. And worst case scenario, it's Pantheism fodder. Now, that's it for all 40 cards in the deck, but seeing as how this one doesn't have an extra deck, normally I don't like to do this, but here's the side deck. 3 Jinzo for any trap-based deck. If it's trap-based, it hates this card. Todd, how are your trap checks? Anyways, if your opponent's relying mainly on monster effects, hit him with the Majesty's Fiend. I was thinking about playing 3 Spell Cancelers in the side, but they're just not big enough bodies for me to want to be able to reliably put on board for them to be even worth it. 1 Erupt, I just had the space. Otherwise, 3 Evenly, 3 Dimensional Barrier, and 3 There Can Only Be 1. This card kills Infernoble Knights, zombies, pretty much anything. This card can kill, if I'm not locking you out of the extra deck, this can at least stop you, can negate other monsters on the board, so it's worth it for that as well. And Evenly, it's the best go second card you could possibly come up with right now. So like, I don't know what else to put in there besides maybe impermanences, but to each their own on that. Anyways, so that's the entirety of the deck profile. I went so mad. I was so happy when I got to recreate this. I went ham on the deck, recreated, went through about 5 different deck profiles before finally settling on this. And yes, it bricks, but when haven't Monarchs? Anyways, have yourselves a wonderful day. Any questions, comments, feel free to ask them in the comments section below, and have a good day.